Okay, so I'm here with Nathan Smith.
Hello.
Hello, that's right. And he is just expert in all things movement and functional, and we'll dive into, I guess just if you want to share actually really quickly your credentials.
Sure. Yeah, so I kind of started athletic career and training and everything, Olympic lifting and martial arts when I was younger. I started coaching boys gymnastics in my early 20s. And then I got training in kinesiology and physiology in college and went and became a CHEK practitioner, if you guys are familiar with Paul CHEK. Went through the CHEK Institute. I did some stuff called LDOA, which is a myofascial therapy for the spine. I was a master instructor with a company called MoveNat, so Natural Movement. I led their certifications, their level 3 certifications for 5 years. So I've done a lot of stuff in the movement space. I owned a gym. I've worked with Strong First and like CrossFit communities, and I'm also a nutritional therapist. So definitely have a well-rounded background in this field. Yeah.
Yes, and that's what I love about you, because there's a lot of different like pieces that you also intuitively put together for yourself, and you put together for others, and you allow them to lead it for you, but you offer just a great support. And so I've known Nate for, I don't know, maybe 5 years?
Like 4 years. 4 years, yeah.
On a hunting trip, actually.
Yep.
So
my other job.
Yeah, I know. But that was fun connection. It's just part of life, right? So anyway, so why we're here today is because I've been moving all my life since I was 5 years old. I started as gymnast and martial artist really, and gymnast at the same time. And so I knew, a lot about movement and strength training via my coaches then. Then I grew into personal training. My uncle was a personal trainer, so he kind of took me under his wing, learned all the things, but from a very old school mindset of lifting and also like macros and stuff. And it was like, boom, chicken, rice, and broccoli. Clearly that's changed. Things have changed.
Things have changed for sure.
For all things. But I'm now at a point, so I'll just fast forward, but I'm now at a point where, and I've trained myself, and I'm very grateful for discipline and my health, because I can always come back to that no matter what happens in life. But so I've just been living off of discipline for the past few months, but there was a major piece that was missing, a couple of pieces. And that was just the excitement of being in a workout and wanting to do the exercises. That was the excitement and the feel-good feelings after. I haven't been getting that for probably about 6 months now.
Yeah.
And then also I have different goals. I'm 38 now, and I do, obviously I'm aging. I'm not getting older. I still feel like I'm almost getting younger, but at the same point, I still want to pick up jiu-jitsu if I want. And even though I've done martial arts in the past, it's still a different movement pattern. And I have some injuries from my past too that I need to work with. And so I reached out to Nate because I knew he was just, very, very good with movement and functional training in ways, and just, movement patterns that I really resonated with. And I was like, okay, here are my goals. Can you help me out with these? I want to get excited about my workouts, and I just need a fresh new perspective. Sure, I can look it up on YouTube. Sure, I can, pull from the tools in my tool belt that I've used in the past, but it hasn't moved the needle for me, and I don't enjoy it. And so I want to continue to enjoy it, because not moving is not an option.
Yeah.
But I also don't want to feel like the hour is just a brutal grind.
Yeah.
So
well, you don't want the discipline to be a trap.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's like a non-negotiable is great until the non-negotiable feels like it's sucking your soul a little bit and actually taking away time from other things in your life. It should feel rewarding when you're like, oh, this non-negotiable thing is something I enjoy doing.
Right.
Yeah.
And all those things to be healthy can be enjoyable. You just have to maybe reach out, ask for help, or, just get different perspectives, refresh. And so we're here today to do my personal assessment. I've kind of brain dumped my goals with Nate via whatever email we were texting back and forth, and then so I'm here now in Colorado with him in his gym. And so today we're going to go through my assessment, basically a body assessment. I'm going to let Nate take over at this point, and then we kind of moved into understanding some of these newer techniques that I wanted him to check my form, but also so that I knew what I was doing too, because they're new, which is fabulous, right? So go ahead, Nate. What are we doing today from an assessment and movement standpoint?
Yep. So for the assessment, I usually always start with the ground up, looking at like ankle dorsiflexion. It's a big one for everybody. So ankles and hips, how those work are really going to affect our knees. Our knees are sort of like a slave joint to those two joints, which can move in complex ways. I have a feeling with you in the assessment, because of your martial arts background and background as a gymnast, that the mobility stuff isn't going to be a constraint that I'm working with. So we might gloss through some things that I would normally spend more time on with people. But we'll be looking at, dorsiflexion. We'll be looking at squat mechanics a little bit and hinging. And I can see a lot of this stuff just in the way someone moves. And I've trained with Lindsay before and I've known her for a while. So I already kind of had like an idea of what I was going to be able to avoid going forward. I'm going to look at some spinal awareness stuff on the ground, just cat-cow position. And then two of the techniques that we're looking at actually tell me a lot about how she moves, which is some coil mechanic stuff, which gets into really using the obliques and the lats or the shoulder with the press. So we have a coil row and a coil press. And those two movements illuminate a ton because they're gait mechanic movements. They're split stance, contralateral, and they allow me to look at you from more of this holistic perspective as a full body movement. Like, what does it look like when you're pulling something, but your feet, what are your feet doing? Are your hips kicking out? And we saw, or will see when we move together, if like, what is going to be happening with that. And then the last movement, and we have more that we're going to be going over this weekend, but the last one for today will be the Hatfield squat, which I find is just a really safe way to get somebody squatting heavy again, but without overtaxing their T-spine or anything like that, because it allows you to have 4 points of contact with both your hands and your feet, and almost feels like a little bit like a leg press when you're doing the Hatfield. So that's kind of the general overview. And then as we go through the weekend too, we may have some other assessment stuff we're going to look at.
Cool. Yeah, I'm excited about that. And then just to back up a little bit, we have, I guess, kind of these like pillar, I don't know if they're pillar movements or pillar focus points, such as like your coil movements, your explosive movements. I guess we didn't say what my goals were specifically.
Oh, sure, yeah.
So did you want to maybe attach those specific focus points to what the goal is?
Yeah. So she gave to me some big goals are building muscle and strength. And so as a lot of anyone following Lindsay, like health people know, like muscle mass is critical as we get older. So putting on some new muscle mass is going to be kind of a priority for this first block of it. And then keeping the explosiveness. So I was speaking with her earlier, and I'm going to kind of divide those amongst her week, where it's like we have days dedicated to building the muscle mass, and then a day dedicated to learning to just be poppy and explosive. She also wants to do jiu-jitsu and get back into that. Jiu-jitsu being something that she's interested in. One of the days is a kind of a movement exploration day. So how I have it laid out in her program is I gave her, I think, 8 or 9 different quadrupedal movements, like different crawls, and I think even maybe a little like kind of like capoeira type stuff. But all things that are going to be focused on teaching you to integrate strength and movement patterns on the ground, which is essential for jiu-jitsu.
Correct.
As you could think. So yeah, the exploration though is like, it gets away from, especially because you said you're feeling, you had the personal training background and, you're kind of getting bored with your workouts. This is like, hey, your workout today is to spend 20 minutes trying to be playful and have fun, but within this like set bounds. Here's the deck of cards that you're allotted. You can only use these movements. Figure it out. And so that's actually called it's called a closed system flow, where I give you a set of movements and then you have to build your flow within that. And so you can start by doing, like, maybe it's like crawling, for instance. Maybe you crawl down and back 10 times just to like get a feel for it. But then you start to weave it into these different transitions, and you just start to figure out the patterns. And at first you might feel really clunky, but I imagine with the gymnastics and the martial arts, it'll come together nicely for you. Yeah,
and that kind of just like resonates again, because I also have been sharing with Nate too, and this is what's really good about having someone else as a coach again, like not just thinking what you want and then looking up at YouTube and then applying it to your life, is we can talk about these things. And I shared with him just my journey into meditation now, like just going deeper into it, and how much I really love like reconnecting just my body and mind like in alignment, where I don't feel like that disconnect. And so that really aligns with my vision of enjoying the workout, because now I can kind of get almost into that meditative state, but in a really, I guess in my body, in my like muscles and in my actual physical body, instead of, kind of like my mind and spirit body. But so that feels really, like I said, in alignment, and it feels good, and it feels like I can be excited about it.
Yeah, and it's like I think it's kind of a cool way to like see where the fitness shows up.
Yeah.
Right? You're like, oh, especially if in jiu-jitsu too, especially because you'll be wrestling somebody and you're like, man, my cardio is better than you and I'm stronger than you.
Yeah.
So it becomes more competitive, which is cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited to see and like follow the journey from the outside and sort of inside in a sense.
Yeah.
It'd be cool.
Well, cool. Well, hope you guys follow along. Take a look at today's assessment, and also some movement patterns that we went over. And then you can also just follow along on this journey, because I will be sort of documenting each phase, my progress, as well as, with visuals, and then also share with you how I'm feeling about the journey. And so how long is the program entirely?
It's 12 weeks.
12 weeks.
So this is phase 1. So every 4 weeks it'll go to a new phase, and the exercises and days will change. Workouts will change, yeah.
Cool.
Yep.
I'm excited. Cool.
Yeah, I'm excited too. So have you done a toe to wall test before?
I've done it, but I don't know about the test specifically.
So toe to wall is just looking at, we're going to place our big toe against the wall, in this case the box.
Okay.
We have our heel down, and then you're going to slide your knee to the wall. And we don't want the heel to come up. And we keep sliding back, sliding back. And I start to feel that stretch happen. Then I really am straining into it, and then this is at the point where I feel my heel lifts.
I see.
And so that's what we're checking, is your max range of motion and what we can achieve there. Yep. Pretty dang good. Well, you went for a big jump there. That was too big. I'm gonna scoot forward.
I was like, I could get it.
Go to the 6.
To the 6?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's like with effort, you're like basically almost a 6, 5.5. So let's go to 5. So let's get big toe to 5. Not a ton of effort, right? Not as much.
No, but I mean, actually 6 was better, because I felt like I was actually like 6 is fine, because I felt.
Well, wait, I want to see both, where it's effort and like there's like passive range of motion.
Okay, so effort.
So active range of motion being where you're really driving into it.
This might be 6.5, yeah.
Yeah.
And
That's great.
Let's try the 6. Yeah, still a little lift, and then probably 5.5, huh?
Now we're gonna check the other side as well.
Cool.
Cool. Let's see the other side.
I
I think that's the tighter side. And now I want to see feet together. We can kind of stand in frame here. And we don't need to worry about the box as much anymore.
Okay.
Feet together, deep squat.
Just like squat as much as you can, like here.
Yep. Awesome. So that's beautiful. So now do it again and posture up for me. So go down and keep, and hold it in the bottom though. Yeah. Now posture up with your back a little bit. See if you can go like without falling. Yeah. Yep.
See how far I can.
So now go with like shoulder width with your feet and do it.
Up.
A lot more comfortable.
Can I relax on here or no?
Yeah, you can rest on your knees. Yep. Yeah, so that's awesome. So this to me is like an excellent indication of like really good mobility, one, and a really great place to be starting from in terms of squatting. So I don't have to worry about building you up in any direction, and we don't have to worry about wedges or squatting with any heel lift if we were trying to build strength there, because you already have it naturally, which is great. Unlike me, who I have really tight ankles.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what you have is amazing. So that's assessment 1. So yeah, we're gonna look at overhead range of motion when it comes to the squat. And even though you had a gymnastics background, sometimes we compensate through our T-spine by lifting up. You're gonna hold the stick overhead like so. And I wanna see you do that first, and then we'll kind of add layers to it.
Cool. Okay, so hold it over here like so.
So a little more narrow. So.
And hold it back, you said, as far?
Yeah, bring it down in front of you like you're gonna overhead press it.
Okay.
And now nice and slow, lift it up. Yeah, it is hard to tell whether you do have really good mobility. See, can I poke you?
Yeah.
Go ahead and anchor your ribs for me, like hollow body. Yeah, that's legit. So feel that I'm sure you feel a little bit difference in tension here. When we're doing any overhead work, this is what I want you to focus on, is pressing from a hollow body almost. Not a full hollow body.
That makes, yeah, I mean, that's a natural gymnast move.
Yeah,
like,
and it's gonna be a lot better on your spine. Because when a lot of people go to press, and I'll show it from the side view, and so you can see too, they'll go to press and then they arch their back to achieve more range of motion. And now they're dumping into their T-spine and their low back. But if we create kind of this little bit of hollow body, and you're overhead pressing as if you're doing a handstand or a handstand push-up, it's gonna be a lot more stable through your spine. And so when we're doing that moving forward, I want you to kind of think about doing it that way. And you still have great posture and range of motion when you do that. You could even come back a little bit with it, yeah.
I see, and then like the shrug feeling is fine, yeah?
Yeah, that's like, blocking kind of,
Right.
Which you may not get, you're not gonna get as much of that when you have load overhead.
Sure.
But you'll still be going through that activation and not doing this. So it's like lifting, pressing through, that anchoring of the rib cage here, rather than like, because many people, and you don't have this, but just for an example, can I see this stick? Many people will go to press and they press overhead like that. And I'm like, oh, get it all the way to their head. And they're like, okay. So they do this. But you have the ability to actually articulate through your spine. So we want to maintain that strength, and especially since you have some T-spine stuff, let's keep that back kind of flat, rib cage down. It's like rib cage down, but T-spine kind of goes into extension a little bit.
Right.
But we're not dumping into it. So
Got it.
that was great. You can go slightly wider than shoulder width and go down into your deep squat.
So slightly wider, deep overhead.
Overhead.
Am I doing that same?
Nope.
Okay, just
Open the body up, yep.
deep squat.
Nice. That's awesome. Does it feel uncomfortable or tight?
No, I mean, it's just like,
You don't even need this thing.
it's like if I had weight on, that would probably feel.
Yeah, I would never be loading that. We're not gonna be Olympic lifting or snatching.
Good, because that's not my goal.
Nope, no, this is like, again, I like seeing it because it's like putting us in like these sort of compromising positions to see where our range of motion or our mechanics start to compensate. And I'm still looking to see where you're compensating, because I think the pain you're experiencing in your neck and your back is like definitely deeper than just superficial movement patterns. So I think it's some postural stuff that we can look at. But yeah, so that's good on that assessment. So yeah, show me your true neutral spine, or what feels neutral to you. Right there? So go ahead and press away a little bit more, just a bit. And now tuck your tail just slightly. So that's like a little bit more true neutral.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It feels like I'm hollowing out.
You're not full, so go to like a full hollow, like press away even more. Yeah. And now exaggerate your extension. So yeah, you were like a little bit more into extension than right there. So I say true neutral in the sense it's like nice to keep abs engaged a little bit. Okay. Not fully engaged, but especially with like you dealing with some stuff through here. And so is it this side? And is like starts up at the neck?
Sometimes no, it starts like mid-thoracic, like right here.
You can point it. So it starts mid-thoracic.
Yeah, and then it can shoot up to here, like even to the base of the crane.
But always biases on this left-hand side.
Occasionally, it will ping pong to the other side, like if I've worked this out or had a massage, then all of a sudden it's like, I'm over here.
And does rotation, is that affected, like T-spine rotation affected by it?
So whenever I golf, forget about it because
Yeah.
I'm going this way.
Yeah.
And then it destroys my entire left side.
Okay. So rotation is a big part of it. Okay. So I think with the movements that we'll be looking at in your program, the new stuff like the coil mechanics, that's going to be something that'll be really good to, I mean, it's kind of like an assessment and training at the same time. So I'm excited to get into that. This, we can go back into position. This is just going to be kind of a body awareness thing for me to see, is I want you to, one vertebra at a time, starting with your tailbone, working your way up, go into extension. Yeah, super, super slow. Even slower, yeah. And so you're already going into extension before.
On my head.
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt that. So then.
So you can restart from, so let's go back to full extension. And now let's go the opposite, starting with your chin and your neck, go into flexion. And don't go into flexion on the other vertebra until until that's done, yeah. Yeah.
You want to, but.
Yeah. It's hard, and it's also a great indication of kind of like your own internal awareness of everything. And seeing how blocky you are, which you're not very blocky.
Oh, that's good.
No.
Flowy.
It's flowy. We want it to be, serpentine.
Yeah.
So do it the other direction now.
It did feel sort of blocky, but.
It's not, in comparison to some other people I have worked with, it is not very blocky. Nice, yep. Now walking up the spine. And I do know it helps poking your back a little bit. Gives you a little bit of awareness. Nice. There you go. And so this is a cool warm-up drill too.
I like it.
Yeah, this is the kind of stuff I think you should play with more often.
Yeah.
With just getting, I'm a big fan of like that, the idea of like the emotionality in our tissues, right? And creating a relationship with our body beyond just like sports performance. And in a lot of ways, this is sports performance, but most people don't look at it that way. So it's just taking the time to like tap into your body and start communicating with your spine and like be like, hey, what's going on? And I can sort of assume and infer as to what might be happening. We could get imaging and say, oh, there is a problem right here. And you get all these answers that are external from your experience. But like you, more than anyone, will know exactly what your body needs and how it feels. And we had a conversation last night talking about the parasympathetic versus sympathetic. These are some of those movements that are a lot more parasympathetic.
And even like just doing them too. Again, I think like sharing with you last night too, where I'm at with like meditation and just making that connection from like just mind-body alignment.
Yeah.
That already feels good where like I know how I would really embrace it at home, being that you're with me and we're doing the assessment. So there's some thinking brain happening. I'd be able to just like close my eyes and just do it really be in the movement and like feel each vertebrae.
No, and that makes a big difference when we're doing any kind of stretching too. Because I think I had chronic low back pain. And so when I got into like more flexibility based stuff, it was to kind of remedy that. But then as I created a bigger relationship to it, I had this obsession with being in perfect neutral spine all the time to make sure I didn't throw my back out. And I had to rebuild this sense of safety with flexion and like all the beautiful organic ways our spine moves. And now I feel safe moving through all these ranges of motion. And I know that it's safe for my body because I've like trained it to be safe, and I've also found that relationship through slower, more mindful movement. And one of those examples is like going into like a straddle, for instance. I think anybody who wants to do like a pancake, and I know you have good flexibility, it's like, think about it from the neutral spine at first, but there is a point where you have to go from neutral into flexion again, and then eventually you get back to like full pancake, which is flat.
Right.
Which, if you're not willing or able to cross that threshold from neutral to flexion to neutral, then you're never going to make those gains. And that's sort of like a metaphorical journey of like finding that relationship with your spine. And there's more happening in that movement with the low back than the thoracic spine. And the T-spine's a lot more impacted by like the stuff you like to do, which is like, you know, like kicking and punching and weightlifting and like doing like rucking and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But the, I mean, I'd be curious to see imaging because T8 is the central point of rotation for your spine. I was pretty close to where you poked. And you're like, oh yeah, forget about it if I go golfing. So I'm like, okay. So rotation is something we want to, and that is something you said that you wanted to focus on as one of your goals. And so I want to make sure that when we focus on it, we're not like overdoing it either and triggering something.
Right.
So
trying to like build up to a healthy and safe rotation.
Yeah. So
Thanks guys for listening.
Thank you all.
See you.
Bye.